Bonsoir les amis, this is Llyane Stanfield and you can find me at ParisianFrench.com. Tonight I want to talk about the passive mode, and many people, I don't know if you, so please write in the comments below and let me know if you are one of them, have troubles with the passive mode. And that is because in English it's not that much used. It's a cultural thing. The passive mode is avoided. As well as I did find in my experience with other client students of mine, they told me that they have been advised by the French teacher not to use the passive mode, the passive voice. So I beg to differ. Passive voice is just, another way of speaking. It should not be cultural, meaning the connotation that the passive mode gives us is that is a passive way of speaking, which is not accurate in like conversation, in art, in literature, everywhere, right? So if you don't use it, so you don't learn it, then whenever it is that you're gonna read it, then you won't really be able to understand it as well and use it as appropriate. So the passive voice is used as needed. I've never heard of anything like that, as in we shouldn't use the passive voice. I do know, however, that in the North American culture, in work and in the way we communicate, it's very much advised not to use the passive voice. And this is the reason I think that the passive voice is avoided a little bit in French as well. I mean, when we learn from teachers here in French. Now you are coming from different parts of the world, so just so that you know, the passive voice is also used as the reflexive voice, and I'm going to give you an example. I have a favorite example for this, and I'm going to write in the description of this video, I'm going to write, really want to show you, I'm going to write the transcript, but I really want to show you, this is really fun. So yeah, 2 days ago I was telling you about the reflexive mode, which is the action. Imagine that it's a ball or an arrow. I like to, those of you, and there are a lot of you who are in the engineering and whatnot, so you understand what a vector is. Maybe other people too. You don't have to be an engineer to know that. A lot of you probably do know, but if you don't know, it's like an arrow. So a vector is an arrow because an action, a verb is an action. And an action always has an intensity of the action, is small, big, large, whatever. It has a direction, it changes, so it moves things, right? So it makes a change. So this is the reason why I like to compare a verb or an action to a vector. So imagine that you're throwing the action in the mirror and it comes right back onto you, and we were talking about that this way for the reflexive mode. So if I say I wash myself, I'm gonna throw the water in the mirror and it comes right on me, so I'm gonna get wet, because that's how reflexive works. Now with the washing, because I'm gonna keep that. So I want to give you an example for the passive mode, so active, passive, and reflexive. So I'm going to talk to more about active and wrap it up a little more. So and take your questions, of course. I like to do that. And please ask me questions and put your comment in the comments, your example, after I give you the sample. So it would be like this. Active mode is I wash my dog. Oh, okay, I'm back. So I wash my dogs. In English, when I say I wash, by default, it's understood that I wash myself. But in French, when I say I wash, by default, I'm expecting what do I wash? Something else. In order for me to say I wash myself in French, I have to specify. So je me lave. But let's go back. So active is I wash the dog. In French, je lave mon chien. Who does the washing? Who's throwing the ball or the arrow? I am. And who gets wet? Who gets cleaned up or wet or washed the dog. That is active mode. Reflexive mode is I wash myself. So I throw the arrow or the ball in the mirror and it comes right back onto me. So who is doing the washing? That's the subject. I am doing the washing. And who gets wet? Who is getting washed? I am getting washed. So that is the reflexive, comes right back onto me. And the passive, I'm going back to the dog, and I'm going to say the dog is washed by me. Okay, I didn't give you the French. So I wash the dog. Je lave. Is washed by me. Le chien est lavé par moi. Who does the washing? I'm doing the washing. But the subject of the sentence is the dog. The dog is washed by me. I am an object of a sort. It's more complicated. So, all right. So, okay, I'm back. The dog is washed by me. So the subject is the subject of the sentence is passive. This is the reason why it's called the passive mode. And so in English, I'm using it as the same way, right? And so it's just this kind of thing where like culturally is not really acceptable all the time and in work and whatnot. And so just remember that passive voice is used as needed. So that's what I have for you for today. Please, if you want to actually make conversation, so I want to have your examples in the comments below. I'm really curious to see what you're gonna choose to talk about. And so I'm looking forward to reading them and to talk with you about them and to actually make conversation, like with, you know, really speaking, talking. Just contact me for to get a free rendezvous with me, and so I can give you more feedback on your particular tendencies so that you can avoid them and so you can speak much faster and easier, as well as the practice with me. So stay on your game and don't ever give up on your dream to become bilingual. Learn to speak Parisian French and break your language barrier. Merci beaucoup et à demain.